Have you noticed how a trip to the grocery store doesn't feel the same anymore? You walk in with a short list, maybe just eggs, bread, and a few fruits, and somehow you leave with a receipt that's double what it used to be. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. If you're over 60, you've probably felt the weight of rising costs more than ever. You've worked hard all your life, maybe you're retired or living on a fixed income, and now every dollar seems to stretch a little less than it did just a few years ago. Prices are up, bills are climbing, and that feeling of financial comfort, it's slipping further away. Now, a lot of people hear the term trade war and think that's something politicians argue about on the news. It has nothing to do with me. But here's the truth. Trade wars do affect you. In fact, they affect nearly everything you touch in your daily life, from the price of apples to the cost of your prescription medications. In this video, we're going to unpack how trade wars make life more expensive, especially for people over 60, and what you can do to protect yourself. No jargon, no complicated economics. Just real talk about what's happening, why it matters, and how to navigate it with confidence. So stick with me until the end, because understanding this can help you make smarter choices with your money and reduce the stress that comes with today's rising costs. Let's start with what a trade war actually is, but I promise this won't sound like a high school economics class. A trade war happens when countries start putting taxes or restrictions on things they import from each other. It's like saying, "You're charging us too much for your products? Fine, we'll charge you right back." It's retaliation. And while that might sound tough and fair in theory, the people who end up paying the price are regular folks like us. Imagine you're shopping for a new TV or even something simple like batteries. If the materials or the product come from another country, and that country is in a trade dispute with ours, a tariff or tax is added. And guess who pays that extra cost? Not the foreign company, not the government. You do, right at the cash register. This kind of ripple effect spreads fast. Trade wars raise the cost of goods, especially the everyday items we rely on. Fruits and vegetables that used to come in from neighboring countries might cost more. Electronics and appliances get pricier. Even certain medications can be affected. And when you're living on Social Security or a pension, those extra dollars matter. But here's something else that's important. Trade wars don't just raise prices. They can also slow down the economy. When businesses have to pay more for supplies, they sometimes cut back on jobs, on raises, even on local investment. That can mean fewer opportunities, more uncertainty, and for some older adults, more anxiety about whether their savings will truly last. And let's not forget about medical costs. Many of the ingredients used in prescription drugs are made overseas. When trade tensions rise, so can the cost of those ingredients. Pharmaceutical companies pass that cost along to consumers. So even though your doctor's advice stays the same, the price at the pharmacy counter can creep up, and fast. Now I know this might all sound a little overwhelming, but knowledge is power. The more we understand, the more we can prepare. And there are ways to soften the blow. First, let's talk about spending habits. This isn't about cutting out every joy in life. It's about being smart with what you already have. One tip, start tracking where your money goes. Not just the big stuff, but the small purchases too. You'd be surprised how quickly little things add up, especially when prices are rising without warning. For example, are you buying name brand products out of habit? Many store brand or generic items are nearly identical in quality, and they cost significantly less. When you're on a fixed income, switching to generics for things like household cleaners, over-the-counter meds, or pantry staples can add up to real savings over the course of a month. Also, don't underestimate the power of community resources. Many cities have senior centers or nonprofits that offer discounted groceries, utility assistance, or free financial counseling. If you haven't looked into these, now's a great time. You're not alone in this, and there are people and programs out there who want to help. The goal isn't just to survive these price hikes. It's to feel empowered despite them. You've made it through so many changes in life already, and this is just another one we can tackle together. We can't control trade wars, but we can control how we respond to them, how we spend, and how we plan. Now that we've discussed how trade wars are affecting the prices of everyday goods, let's talk about something else that's making life harder for many people over 60, inflation. You might have heard that word a lot lately, inflation, and it's a big part of why everything seems to be getting more expensive. Inflation is simply the rate at which prices for goods and services rise, and the purchasing power of your money falls. For those of us on fixed incomes, inflation can feel like a constant pressure. It's not just the groceries and utilities that are going up. Everything seems to be rising, from healthcare to transportation. If you're living on a pension or Social Security, your income isn't increasing at the same pace as these prices, which creates a real challenge. And doesn't stop there. Trade wars, as we mentioned before, can cause supply shortages. When certain goods are harder to get, their prices go up. This is particularly tough for older adults, who may need to replace items like household appliances or even vehicles more frequently. If the cost of those items skyrockets because of tariffs or supply chain issues, it could put a strain on your budget. But here's where you can start to make a difference in your own life. It's time to get smart about budgeting. It's easy to put off thinking about finances, especially when you're juggling health concerns or just want to enjoy your retirement years. But the sooner you take a good, hard look at where your money is going, the better equipped you'll be to manage these changes. A good place to start is by setting a realistic budget. And I mean a realistic budget, something that works for your current lifestyle and needs. It's not about depriving yourself or cutting out all the little pleasures. It's about finding balance. Take a look at your regular expenses, from housing and utilities to groceries and healthcare, and see where you can make small adjustments. Even if you can only cut a little here and there, it adds up over time. Another smart move is to be on the lookout for discounts. Many companies and stores offer senior discounts, and these savings can really add up. Whether it's 5% off your groceries, a discount on public transportation, or a break on utility bills, those little savings can help offset rising costs. Don't hesitate to ask about senior discounts. Sometimes they're not advertised but are available if you just ask. There's also the option of downsizing, which might seem daunting but can make a big difference in the long run. Many people find that after 60, they don't need as much space as they once did. Moving to a smaller home or apartment can help reduce your rent or mortgage payments, lower utility costs, and even make maintenance easier. If you own a larger house and the upkeep is starting to feel overwhelming or expensive, consider whether it might be time for a change. Now, let's talk about your health, because rising healthcare costs are another factor heavily influenced by trade wars and inflation. Healthcare expenses have been rising for years, and many older adults find that their insurance premiums, out-of-pocket expenses, and prescription drug costs are steadily climbing. It's a challenge, no doubt, but there are ways to manage it. First, check with your healthcare provider to make sure you're on the best insurance plan for your needs. If you're on Medicare, there are different parts and options to consider, and you might not be enrolled in the most cost-effective plan for your circumstances. It's worth reviewing your coverage every year during open enrollment to make sure you're not paying for services you don't need or missing out on a plan that could save you money. Another way to reduce healthcare costs is by using preventative care. Many insurance plans, including Medicare, cover preventive services at no additional cost to you. Regular checkups, screenings, and vaccinations can catch health issues early when they're easier and less expensive to treat. If you can stay ahead of potential problems, you might save yourself from more costly treatments down the line. One more tip that can help you keep your healthcare costs in check is to shop around for prescriptions. The price of medications can vary significantly depending on where you buy them. Use online tools to compare prices at different pharmacies and see if there are any discounts or generic alternatives that might work for you. It's a small step, but over time, those savings really add up. So, now we've touched on budgeting, senior discounts, downsizing, and healthcare, but there's one more key area that deserves attention: your investments. If you've been able to put some money away for retirement, it's important to keep a close eye on how your investments are performing. Trade wars, inflation, and global economic uncertainty can all impact the stock market and the value of your investments. This doesn't mean you need to become a financial expert overnight, but it's worth checking in with a trusted financial advisor. They can help you make sure your investments are properly diversified and aligned with your risk tolerance. As we get older, we may want to shift to safer, more stable investment options, and a financial advisor can guide you through that process. And don't forget to think about your estate planning as well. Having a will, A living trust and clear directives for your health care can save your loved ones from unnecessary stress and potential financial strain. It's a way of protecting not only your legacy, but also the resources you've worked so hard to build. We've covered a lot of ground so far, from the impact of trade wars on the prices of everyday items to the rising costs of healthcare and how inflation is squeezing your budget. Now, let's focus on something that might not be on your radar, but can have a huge effect on your finances: how to protect yourself against financial fraud and scams. Unfortunately, older adults are often targeted by scammers because they believe seniors are less likely to recognize fraud. And when you're on a fixed income, the last thing you want is to fall victim to a scam that drains your savings. The good news is that there are steps you can take to protect yourself. First, be cautious with unsolicited phone calls, emails, or messages from people claiming to be offering deals or asking for personal information. Scammers are experts at pretending to be someone you trust, whether it's a bank representative or even a family member. If you receive an unexpected call or message asking for money or personal details, take a step back, hang up or delete the message, and then call the organization directly to verify if the request is legitimate. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Another important tip is to monitor your bank accounts regularly. Many financial institutions now offer apps that allow you to track your spending and check for unusual transactions in real time. If you notice anything that doesn't look right, report it immediately. The sooner you spot a potential fraud, the sooner you can stop it from escalating. It's also a good idea to set up alerts for large withdrawals or transactions, so you're immediately notified if anything unusual happens. And if you're ever unsure about a financial transaction, don't hesitate to ask a trusted friend or family member for advice. We all need a little extra support sometimes, and having someone you trust to help review important financial decisions can be a lifesaver. As we wrap up our discussion, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. The challenges of rising living costs, inflation, and trade wars are real, but that doesn't mean you're powerless. By making smart choices about budgeting, healthcare, and protecting your finances, you can navigate these challenges with confidence. Remember, you don't need to make huge changes overnight. Small adjustments like finding discounts, being cautious about spending, and seeking advice when you need it can have a big impact over time. And while it's important to stay aware of financial pressures, don't forget to focus on what truly matters: your health, your happiness, and your well-being. A positive mindset and a little bit of planning can go a long way. You've worked hard throughout your life, and it's essential to enjoy the rewards of your efforts. Whether it's traveling, spending time with family, or simply enjoying your favorite hobbies, you deserve to live a fulfilling and joyful life. Don't let financial stress take away from those moments. Take control of what you can and leave the rest behind. And always remember, you're not alone in this journey. There are resources and people who can help. Reach out if you need advice or support, and never hesitate to take action when something doesn't feel right. Finally, I want to encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. How have you been managing the rising costs of living? And what tips do you have for others in the same boat? I'd love to hear from you and continue this conversation. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on more tips and advice to help you live your best life after 60. Thanks for watching, and here's to living with confidence and peace of mind, no matter what life throws your way.